Republic Act Number 6725, an act strengthening the prohibition on discrimination against women with respect to terms and conditions of employment, amending for the purpose Article 135 of the Labor Code as amended. Presented by Antoinette Hingpit, Karil Mendoza, and Jovert Bustillo. Section 1. Article 135 of the Labor Code, as amended, is hereby further amended to read as follows. The following are acts of discrimination. First, payment of a lesser compensation, including wage, salary, or other form of remuneration and fringe benefits, to a female employee as against a male employee for work of equal value. This refers to a situation where a female employee is paid less than a male employee, even though they are doing the same job or work of equal value. This includes not only their basic wage or salary, but also other benefits like bonuses, allowances, or perks. It's considered discrimination because both employees are contributing equally, but the female employee receives lower compensation just because of her gender. Second, favoring a male employee over a female employee with respect to promotion, training opportunities, study, and scholarship grants solely on account of their sexes. This refers to unfair treatment based on gender, where a male employee is given preferential treatment over a female colleague solely because he is a man. This can happen in areas such as promotions, training opportunities, and study or scholarship grants. Such actions are considered gender discrimination and violate the principles of equal opportunity and fair treatment in the workplace. All employees, regardless of gender, should be evaluated based on merit, performance, and potential, not on stereotypes or biases. Criminal liability and independent actions for unlawful acts and violations. When someone commits an unlawful act, they can be held criminally liable, meaning they are legally responsible and can face penalties such as fines or imprisonment. Even if the act was done independently, without orders or pressure from others, the individual is still accountable. Independent actions that violate laws or regulations carry full consequences, especially when they involve discrimination, abuse of power, or violation of rights.
Section 2 Republic Act Number 6725, implementing gender equality in the workplace, the rule of Dole under RA 6725. Gender equality is not just an ideal, it is a right protected by the law. Republic Act Number 6725, passed on May 12, 1989, strengthens the protection of women against discrimination in the workplace. Today, we focus on Section 2 of this law. During the 1980s, growing awareness of women's rights and need for equal treatment in employment led to the passing of RA 6725. It amended that the labor code to prohibit gender-based discrimination, especially in terms of wages, promotion, and opportunities. However, laws on paper are not enough. That's why Section 2 was written to give the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, the responsibility to implement and enforce this protection. So what are the key provisions of Section 2? Section 2 states The Secretary of Labor and Employment is hereby authorized to promulgate the necessary guidelines to implement this article in accordance with the generally accepted practices and standard here and abroad. This means that DOLE must develop clear guidelines and rules on gender equality in employment. Make sure those rules align with international labor and human rights standards. Monitor and guide companies to ensure they comply with anti discrimination policies. So, the purpose of this Section 2 in the Philippines, many women still face lower pay, limited access to promotion, or are denied work opportunities due to stereotypes or outdated workplace practices. Section 2 plays a crucial role because it turns legal principle into practical enforceable rules. Without DOLE action, the law would have no clear pathway for real changes. So the impact on gender sector. This section protects women. It ensures they receive fair treatment, pay, and opportunity. Also to LGBTQ plus workers. While RA 6725 focuses on women, its principles support the broader goal of eliminating gender-based inequality. Also, it is male alliance. In gender equal workplace, even male employees benefit from a culture of fairness and respect. In a real life application example, example of this is a female employee apply for a scholarship offered by her company. Thanks to DOLE guidelines based on RA 6725, she cannot be denied simply because of her gender. Second example, a company is outdated by DOLE for wage disparities between male and female workers performing the same job. This process is guided by Section 2 directive. So, however, implementation is not always easy. Some companies are unaware of DOLE guidelines or choose to ignore them. There may be lack of monitoring, especially in small business or rural area. Victims of discrimination may not report cases due to fear or lack of information. So, Section 2 of RA 6725 is proof that equality is not just concept. It's a process that requires strong implementation. With DOLE, leadership, and the public awareness, we can ensure workplaces across the country are fair, just, and inclusive for all. Together, let's make gender equality not just a goal, but a reality.
Republic Act Number 6725, Section 3, amending Article 124 of the Labor Code, focuses on the statutory minimum wage. It legally obligates all employers in the Philippines, regardless of industry or the number of employees, to pay their workers a minimum wage rate. This rate is not uniform nationwide but is specifically set by regional tripartite wages and productivity boards or RTWPBs for different regions. Essentially, this section ensures that every employee covered by the law receives at least the minimum amount deemed necessary for basic needs within their specific region. It prevents employers from paying wages below this legally established floor. The RTWPBs periodically review and adjust these regional minimum wage rates considering factors like cost of living, inflation, and the socio-economic conditions of each region to maintain a decent standard of living for workers. This provision is a fundamental protection for labor rights in the Philippines.